Welcome to another journey into the dark and eerie. Today, I'm sharing a deeply unsettling story from my own experiences, one that has haunted me for years. What began as a seemingly innocuous old photograph swiftly spiraled into a nightmarish journey beyond imagination. Prepare yourself for a descent into a world where reality and nightmare intertwine. It all started with an old photograph I discovered while cleaning out my attic. The picture was yellowed and tattered, a relic from a bygone era. It depicted a desolate, shadowy landscape with an indistinct structure in the distance, shrouded in an eerie mist. The image had a disturbing quality, blurry and distorted. It seemed to whisper secrets from another world. Compelled by curiosity, I decided to investigate the place depicted in the photograph. My search led me to an abandoned area that bore a haunting resemblance to the photograph. The air was thick with a sense of dread as I ventured deeper, the landscape becoming increasingly unrecognizable. The familiar world seemed to dissolve into a labyrinth of darkness and decay. The once familiar terrain was now a chaotic sprawl of twisted, derelict buildings and overgrown foliage. Shadows danced at the edge of my vision, and the air grew colder with each step. An unsettling silence pervaded the area, broken only by the occasional rustle of leaves or distant, inexplicable whispers. It was as if the place itself was holding its breath, waiting for something or someone. As I moved through this forsaken place, I encountered remnants of what had once been a settlement, abandoned homes, broken down vehicles, and the decaying skeletons of structures that had long been forgotten. The atmosphere grew more oppressive, with an almost tangible sense of being watched. The whispers grew louder, echoing through the empty streets and seeming to come from every direction at once. My attempts to decipher the origins of the photograph led me further into this dark realm. The more I explored, the more I realized that this place was not just a forgotten location. It was a nexus of dark, supernatural forces. The shadows seemed to move with a life of their own, and the very ground felt unstable, as if it might give way at any moment. At the heart of this labyrinth was a large, decaying building that matched the structure in the photograph. The facade was crumbling, and its windows were shattered, overgrown with creeping ivy. Despite its dilapidated state, the building emanated an unsettling aura, drawing me closer with an irresistible pull. The front door creaked open with an ominous groan, and I stepped inside. The interior was dimly lit by the faint light filtering through the cracked and dirty windows. Dust hung in the air like a heavy fog, and the smell of mildew and decay was overpowering. The once grand interior was now a ruin, with rotting furniture scattered about and walls covered in peeling wallpaper. As I ventured deeper into the building, I noticed strange symbols scrawled across the walls in what appeared to be dried blood. The symbols seemed to pulsate with a malevolent energy, casting eerie shadows that danced and shifted as if alive. The air grew colder, and my breath formed visible clouds in the frigid atmosphere. I stumbled upon a large staircase in the center of the building, leading to the upper floors. The steps creaked and groaned under my weight as I ascended, each footfall echoing through the empty hallways. The higher I went, the more oppressive the atmosphere became. A feeling of dread settled over me, and the sense of being watched grew stronger. On the top floor, I found a door that stood out from the rest. It was intact and well-maintained, despite the decay surrounding it. With trepidation, I turned the handle and entered the room beyond. The space was vast and circular, its walls adorned with grotesque murals depicting scenes of torment and despair. The murals were so vivid that they seemed almost to move, their figures writhing in anguish. In the center of the room stood a large, ornate mirror, its surface covered in a thick layer of grime. The mirror emitted a faint, otherworldly glow, drawing me closer. As I gazed into the mirror, my reflection appeared distorted and twisted, as if the mirror was showing a dark, parallel version of reality. The images within began to shift and warp, revealing scenes of ghostly figures and shadowy entities writhing in agony. It was as if the mirror was a gateway to another realm, a place where the very fabric of reality was unraveling. Suddenly, the mirror's surface rippled, and I felt a cold, icy hand grip my shoulder. I spun around to find a ghostly figure standing before me. It was a woman, her eyes hollow and her expression one of eternal sorrow. She reached out to me with a trembling hand, her voice barely audible above the roar of the storm that seemed to be brewing around us. "You must leave," she said urgently. "The darkness will consume you." Before I could respond, the room was filled with a deafening roar. The walls shook violently, and the floor beneath me began to crack and splinter. The shadows in the room converged into a massive, swirling vortex of darkness, pulling everything towards its center. The very air seemed to crackle with malevolent energy, and the force of the vortex threatened to tear me apart. Desperate to escape, I grabbed the woman's hand and ran towards the door. We stumbled through the collapsing building, navigating the twisted corridors as the structure seemed to disintegrate around us. The darkness pursued us relentlessly, its tendrils reaching out to ensnare us. Each step felt like a struggle against an invisible force, and the roar of the vortex grew louder, almost deafening. We finally burst through the front door and fled into the night. The building behind us was engulfed in a swirling maelstrom of shadows and debris. As I looked back, the once menacing structure had vanished, leaving only an empty field where it had stood. The vortex continued to rage for a moment before collapsing in on itself, swallowing the remnants of the building. The woman, her form now fading, turned to me one last time. "You've seen what lies beyond," she said. "Remember, the darkness never truly leaves. It lingers, waiting for the next unwary soul." With those final words, she disappeared into the night, her form dissolving into the shadows. I stood alone in the field, the weight of my experiences pressing heavily upon me. The photograph that had led me on this terrifying journey was now a distant memory, but its dark echoes would forever linger in my mind. In the days that followed, I found myself haunted by the events I had witnessed. The photograph remained hidden away, a constant reminder of the thin veil that separates our world from the unknown horrors that lie just beyond. The nightmares continued, and the feeling of being watched never fully faded. My investigation had revealed more than I had ever anticipated, and the darkness I had encountered would forever shape my understanding of reality. As I share this account, I hope to convey the sheer terror and mystery that I experienced. The photograph was not merely a picture but a key that unlocked a doorway to a realm of darkness. The journey through that realm revealed the depths of fear and the unknown that lie just beyond our perception. My story serves as a cautionary tale. Some mysteries are best left unexplored, for the darkness they conceal may be more than we can ever hope to comprehend.